Assalamu alaikum, Michael here, helping you with your reading fluency of the Quran and sharing some beautiful gems of the Quran that make it very powerful, that make it a miracle, or that show us that the Quran is a miracle. With reading fluency, we mentioned how the melody is open, the tune is open, but the rhythm is fixed. You have to respect the length of sounds to have the correct rhythm so that the ayah is read correctly and it has the correct meaning. This is very important. And when you're doing that, you're going to find that there are some places that are tricky. Some sentences or phrases, small parts, require more focus to get the proper rhythm. Whether you're doing that by listening or you're doing that by reading, whether you're using audio support or not, there are some places that you're going to have to stop more and focus more to get the proper rhythm. This is very important, and this is part of the power of the Quran. It is so easy to memorize and easy to read if you put extra focus on getting the proper rhythm. That is where the secret lies, getting the right rhythm of recitation. And the place I'm going to take you today also has a very powerful and beautiful feature of the Quran, a gem, as you could say, that make the Quran very powerful. We're going to Surah At-Tahrim, which is Surah number 66, and we're going to Ayah 11, the second to last Ayah of the Surah. It's a short Surah, it's at the end of the Quran. The phrase I want to draw your attention to, because of the rhythm and the importance or the focus you need on that phrase, is after the line, the cursor over here. So I'm going to read from the beginning of the ayah just to help you. I'm going to stop at my cursor and then continue from there for the phrase that we're going to focus on. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وضرب الله مثلا للذين آمنوا امرأة فرعون إذ قالت رب ابن لي عندك بيتا في الجنة ونجني من فرعون وعمله ونجني من القوم الظالمين. So this was in Surah At-Tahrim, ayah number 11, Surah 66. And the tricky phrase, the phrase that needs a little more focus, is this one over here. You could say the sentence goes all the way to here, where the wife of Fir'aun, Imra'at of Fir'aun, is making dua to Allah that she's saying, my Lord, build a house in Jannah for me. And then the ayah goes on. The beginning of this phrase over here is where sometimes people need to put more focus. Why? Because the word Rabbi means my Lord. But here it's short, Rabbi, with a short E at the end. And then Bani means children. But this is a short Ibni with a short E at the end, which actually means builds. It's a different word. And then Li, however, the Li has extra length. So the first E sound of Rabbi is short, the second E sound on Ibni is short, the third E sound is long with Li. So it goes, Rabbi ibni li indak. And I'm exaggerating, but this is what you need to do. When you're focusing on the flow, you want to stick it in your audio memory with the proper sound. Rabbi ibni li indak. I'm continuing to show you the extra E sound. One more time. Rabbi ibni li indak. And this is what you need to do. The step-by-step focus on the rhythm is very important. There's going to be many phrases that you need to focus on the rhythm to get it right so that it's easier, so that the flow of the Quran becomes very easy for you, inshallah ta'ala. Now, the beautiful feature of this ayah, let's pull up the full translation of the ayah. So the wife of Fir'aun is making dua. Build a house for me in Jannah. And save me from Fir'aun and his deeds, what he's doing, and save me from the wrongdoing people, from the wrongdoing nation. Now pay attention to the last sentence here, which is the last phrase of the ayah over here, وَنَجِّنِي مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ, because this is really powerful. This is powerful. This is a beautiful feature of the Quran. This is the wife of Fir'aun who participated in bringing up Musa alayhi salam. Musa, you know the story. His mother puts him in the basket. He lands in the palace. The wife of Fir'aun takes him as his foster mother, and he's actually reunited with his real mother. And he grows up in the palace of Fir'aun under the leadership, supervision, and teachings of the wife of Fir'aun, this beautiful woman. Her name was Asiya. who's mentioned in the Quran as a believer. And she makes this dua at the end. Now you can go to another place in the Quran, Surah Al-Qasas, Surah number 28. And I believe this is ayah 20 or something. It's on the third page of the surah, where Musa alayhi salam, this is the next thing we know about his story. After he's brought to the palace to be raised in the palace, the next thing we know about him is the incident where somebody tells him, run away from here, Fir'aun is after you, they're going to kill you. So Musa has to leave. He's probably 15, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. He has to leave the city. He has to run away. And in that ayah, Allah says that he left fearful and anticipating or apprehensive. And he said, my Lord, save me from the wrongdoing people. And that phrase in Arabic is رَبِّ نَجِّنِي مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. That phrase rings a bell. That's the phrase that you had in the end of the ayah with the wife of Fir'aun. It's the same thing. Musa is saying the same thing that the wife of Fir'aun said. Now what's so powerful about this ayah? It's multifold. Number one is that a person who read both parts, or a person who recites the Quran on a regular basis, would end up realizing that this is the same thing. Allah wants us to repeat the Quran, read it more, to realize these things and go deeper into the message of the Quran. So a person would notice that this is the same dua. And then if a person knows that the wife of Fir'aun took care of Musa alayhi salam and helped to raise him, they would realize that when Musa some years later is running away and making the same dua, it's because he learned it from his mother. This is the importance of reading the Quran a lot. And this is a beautiful feature of the Quran, that it gives the reader or the reciter the joy of piecing things together. Light bulb moments of, oh, this is why this happened, or this is why Allah says this. And at the same time, the Quran is meant to move the listener. So as a result, anybody who writes a story, and this part of the story, would have spelled it out for us. Anybody who writes a story would have written that he left fearful, and then he remembered the prayer that he learned from his mom when she was fearful, or when she was in trouble, she would make this dua, she would make this prayer. Anybody who writes a story would have mentioned that to draw the attention of the reader, would have mentioned that he remembered that. He remembered that prayer, and he learned well from his mother, this righteous, believing mother, or foster mother. And he repeated the same prayer that she said, and he said, my Lord, save me from the wrongdoing people. Anybody who writes a story would have written it that way. But Allah doesn't. Allah revealed the Quran in such a way that every time you read it, or every time you recite it, or every time you hear it, and you're focusing, if you're focusing, you're going to uncover new layers, new depths, new beauties of the Quran, new beauties in the meaning, new things that you didn't realize before. Allah planted the seeds for all these light bulb moments to happen as a person is listening to the Quran or reading the Quran. This is the power of the Quran. This is also the reason why it's not recommended to just read the translation one time and that's it. No, it's recommended to keep reading it and to read the Arabic, so that the beauty of the Quran is complete, so that you have the phrases of Arabic. And that's why my goal is to give you all the tools so that you can understand the Quran as you're listening to it, as you're reading to it, because that's when you can really feel the power of the message, the miracle of the Quran. I invite you to go to QuranIntuitive.com/bond for my free mini course helping you to connect with the Arabic words of the Quran, giving you the tools to recognize the words and get very familiar with the words of the Quran, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.